Tonight, hope for the capital as COVID infection rates begin to drop, but a warning not to be complacent. Good evening. It would appear the tide is beginning to turn for coronavirus in the capital, but we are being warned by the Prime Minister tonight that it is far too early to be confident that the pressure is easing. Today, the rate of infection in 22 of London's 32 boroughs is going down, but despite that, our hospitals remain in a dangerous situation after a huge surge in patients over the past few weeks. Well, in a moment, we'll speak to a doctor working on the front line at one of London's intensive care units. But first, Katie Barnfield reports on the slight glimmer of hope for the capital. Well, let's talk now to Dr. Emeka Okorocha, and one of our regular GPs, Dr. Natalie Rout, has advice on how you can look after someone at home who has COVID symptoms, including when and where to seek help. Just head to our website, itv.com/London, to watch the full video. The Metropolitan Police has released footage from a raid on an industrial estate in Southall where 29 people were found inside a hidden shisha bar. Officers were called. More details are emerging today about the true scale of the financial crisis faced by Transport for London. New proposals reveal the service needs an additional £3 billion government bailout this year, as well as £1.6 billion every year for the next decade to cover costs. Let's go to... Police have released a picture of a man they want to speak to in connection with the attempted abduction of a 5-year-old boy in West London. And a grime artist serving 24 years in jail for imprisoning and repeatedly raping 4 women has had his sentence increased by 6 years. Tottenham-born Solo, who's 45 and whose real name is Andy Anoke, was found guilty of 21 rapes and 5 counts of false imprisonment. Well, the Court of Appeal ruled that his initial sentence was unduly lenient. Still to come. But first, what you see is not always what you get. The message today from an artist who is aiming to challenge perceptions of disabled people. Susie Lark is hoping to do that with an online festival at the South Bank Centre, and she launched to showcase the talents of those who might not always get the platform they deserve. Aurea Chatterjee has been speaking to her and others who are involved. Well, next, a Michelin-star chef who runs businesses in London and Marlow has joined a campaign calling on the government to review the free school meal policy. Tom Kerridge, alongside a group of celebrities, including footballer Marcus Rashford, has written to the Prime Minister asking him to fix the system long-term as concerns grow for families and charities across the capital. Carolyn Sim reports. Now, a big England debut for one Essex cricketer. Let's get the details now in the sports. Now, it was a big morning for Essex batsman Dan Lawrence as he made his debut for England, scoring 73 runs against Sri Lanka. Big things are expected for the 23-year-old, who is the son of Chingford's groundskeeper. Well, today, his best friend told Sam Holder this is just the beginning of his life in the spotlight. The 2021 Women's Six Nations is set to be delayed until spring at the earliest. The Rugby Tournament World would normally take place in February at the same time as the Men's Six Nations, which is still expected to go ahead. Well, tournament officials say dates for the women's and under-20s competition will be confirmed by the end of the month. Now, just before the pandemic struck, musician, author and broadcaster Cerys Matthews gathered a group of 10 poets at Abbey Road Studios for a special project that combines her love of poetry and, of course, music. The result is a lyrical album of spoken word songs that celebrates the everyday turn of phrase. We'll speak to Cerys in just a moment, but first, here's a look at the making of the album. Now, could snow be on the way to the capital? Well, that's the warning from some of the experts. Is it true? Here's the forecast now with Chris Page. And finally, the man who carried an anti-Black Lives Matter protester to safety has been recognised by an artist who has now turned the famous image into a statue. Patrick Hutchinson was described as a hero after his intervention last summer, and now talks are being held with leading institutions in the capital to find a permanent and public space for the sculpture. Antoine Allen reports. What an image. That is it for now. We are back with the latest after ITV News at 10. Coming up, Charlene White with the ITV Evening News. But from me and the rest of the London team, have a lovely weekend and take care.